Verhoeven, for me personally, has always walked hand in hand with doing the thing while also revealing how disturbing that thing is at the same time. And I think that I don't think it's contradictory. I think that he is actually saying something about it while doing that. And I feel like that it creates the contradiction in the viewer. And I think that works really well, especially in this, where he takes all the razzle dazzle Hollywood stardom pursuit story, like the basic dramatic structure of this, of like a girl goes to town. Yeah. She has dreams of making it big. She has to climb and scratch and claw her way to the very top and do some disturbing things to get there. And then the feelings of kind of like, what have I done? What really is this place? The reveal of, oh my God, like this is a horrible thing. Why did I ever dream of this? Like this, you can found this in Hollywood films as early as like the fucking 20s, dude. Right. Gold Diggers of 1933, the original Star is Born, even before the George Cukor one in the 50s, all about Eve. Films, old Hollywood films like this exist. They are very clearly intentionally referencing them. And then he's like, what if I took that film and turned it into a dirty, disturbing, genuinely lurid exploitation movie? Yeah. I think that is really intriguing, and I'm surprised more people honestly haven't. I mean, I guess the reaction to this is why more people haven't done it, but that's a really cool way of thinking about that, of like actually being like, a lot of those movies get to the point where it's like, the character has the fall from grace, and they're like, oh my God, this dream wasn't what I thought it was. And I don't think that those films have as visceral of a shake and a grotesquerie and a filth that this one does. Like, I think this is an extremely powerful version of that story because of the way that it was overcranked, because of the way that it was stylized with shiny surfaces covered in grime and body fluids. It really is like the American dream as like a backstage stripper melodrama of, competition and corruption and superficial celebrity diva image making. That's why I love the Gina character specifically. Like the way that she does poses, just the way she smiles, the way that she looks at Nomi, and like, with her big sort of like all the makeup on her face and everything like that. Like, people I think looked at that and went, oh, this is so ridiculous. This is so, like this woman isn't talking like a real woman. And I'm like, of course she's a show woman. Yeah, exactly. She's putting on a show even for Nomi. Yeah. Like that. I think the scene that gets talked about the most is that big scene in which everyone should have known, because it was in a fucking fast food court mall where they have this scene, and they both look fabulous. Mm-hmm. And they sit down at this fast food place or whatever. It might even be fast food. They might actually sit at a restaurant, but the mall, they're at the mall very clearly. And when they sit down, that's where they have this conversation where Gina's like, I like tits. Do you like your big tits? People point to that scene all the time because they're like, women do not talk to each other that way. That is very clearly a man writing to women. And I'm like, that's true. This is Paul Verhoeven and Joe Esterhaus writing this film. But at the same time, these specific women are, they're managing their images in front of each other. Exactly. And trying to be vulgar and trying to humiliate each other and objectify each other. Mm-hmm. Like that scene absolutely makes sense to me, even if, there are elements of it that's silly. This world is silly. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's like even the introduction to the world itself, like before she even gets to the dressing room and meets all these people who, by the way, are just bickering at each other. It seems like half of them fucking hate each other and want each other dead anyway. And they're supposed to be a team every night and doing this performance. Yep. It's even before that, when she's doing the auditions, this kind of like the fantasy versus the reality thing she has to deal with. She goes to the auditions, and right away, this producer, who I love the performance and I love the scenes that he's in. They're horrifying, but they're very funny. And this producer is just an absolute animal. He goes and brings the women into a straight line and just goes over every single one of them and points out every single one of their physical flaws that he thinks they have. And that's her initial introduction into this like show life that she's been dreaming of for however many years. And it doesn't really deter her. But
that specific moment of the one girl who comes on, he's like, "Hey, I've seen you here before."
Oh my god, yeah. Oh my god.
And she's like, "Yeah, you know, I auditioned for you like I auditioned for you last year, and you said I had a big nose, so I got a nose job." And he looks at it, and he's like, the nose does look good. But then he sends her home anyway and says, "But I'm realizing your ears are too big."
Yeah. And he goes, "Go fix them and then come back next year." And and the thing is, her performance is not like obviously she's disappointed and very saddened by this, but it is not like, "Oh, I'm giving up." It's okay, I guess I have to go back to the plastic surgeon, get my ears done, and then come back and hope that he lets me audition for his show.
Yeah.
Like it's just so cutthroat and superficial, and it's still like, once you see the show, because there is moments
and it's there in the writing. That's what's crazy to me. Like, it's there. The critique there is obvious. This guy is an absolute prick. They call him a prick in the text of the film.
Nomi does,
and very clearly he is showing you this industry and how it operates, and it operates by treating these women like absolute garbage while also relying on them as part of their spectacle and selling their bodies for money.
Yeah.
And you know, it's very clearly the men don't have to get vulnerable and put themselves on the line. They just get to judge them and be mean to them. Yeah. And it even starts to connect to Crystal a little bit, where it's like she thinks that she has this like